Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. This is Deep Cuts Reactions and my name's Greg, and I've got a little bit more time today than I've had the last couple of days. So I gotta do something a little longer than some of them. It's part of a documentary. But the last couple of days, I've been kind of limited in the time that I had. So, normally I go through and I don't edit, that's way too much trouble. But I do at least listen to what I said, to make sure that that I didn't say anything too stupid. I mean, it does have to be very stupid for me to burn the video. It's like I don't mind looking like a fool, to some extent, but, not completely. So anyway, uh, yeah, so I just uploaded them. I didn't review them at all. So we'll see how this goes. This is an Aussie Pub Rock 1970s documentary, and Dr. Cap has gone in and remastered the video or remastered the sound and sharpened up the video and all that sort of stuff. And from what I could see, there's going to be like 35 seconds of this missing, and I know what it is. It's AC/DC. As you may have noticed, I don't play any AC/DC, because I can't. They copyright block every single thing, which is a drag. I mean, they were not my favorite band or anything, but, I liked them okay and wouldn't mind, going back and hearing some of the stuff to see if I like it better now than I did when it came out, but that's not going to be possible. So anyway, let's just go ahead and give this a listen. It's about a little over 8 minutes long, so let's check it out.
Australia in the 70s took the larrikin image to violent extremes, including our own native youth culture, the Sharpies. This was the sort of crowd musicians of the time might have to entertain. Some tried explosives, some tried school uniforms, some tried makeup. Whatever it took, as bands did battle in every pub and living room across the nation.
I think you kind of look back on it like, I imagine, if we'd gone to war. And there's like 4 or 5 years where, as a bunch of mates, you go out there and you do these extraordinary things that are you're probably never going to repeat again in your whole life.
You see these guys in the World War One, they get those trenches. It's a bit like that. You pick up the guitar and you just dig in.
The only thing that we don't really have, or don't have enough of, is kind of our own Anzac days, where we can get together as old diggers and kind of recount war stories.
People start to scream! Big men lying on the ground!
The new wave of Australian hard rock started deep behind the walls of an unassuming concrete bunker in the Sydney suburb of Burwood. Holed up inside were 3 Scottish brothers. George Young from the 60s Easy Beats and his little brothers, Malcolm and Angus, were beating out a rhythm that would soon flake the nation's fibro houses. 14-year-old Angus was so eager to get into the guitar, he would never change out of his school uniform.
A lot of it was nerves at first. When I started in the band, I was pretty much shy. It was hard to get me to sort of push myself forward, But Malcolm and George always sort of said, no, get up the front and show people that you can play. And I think when I put on the school suit, I thought I had to be extrovert. Blues, jazz, we could get there. I even think Malcolm played Zorba the Greek one night, so, and I followed.
The young brothers began playing at a time recognised as the Australian music scene's lowest ebb. Out festivals like Sunbury were all but finished. But pubs and RSL clubs all over the country were opening their doors to the blues bands that had thrived in the elements. Here there was plenty of heat, no mud, and unlimited supplies of beer. Just the environment for a new generation of angry young men to work up a fine mist of sweat with a frontal assault of volume and an enthusiasm to join the fray. One of them was actually called Angry.
I was a band mole. I mean, I used to hang around gigs, and because in those days, the late 60s, early 70s, the bands like Thorpe and all those bands, the Coloured Balls and Shane and all the bands that I adored and worshipped, you'd want to get close. You'd want some of it to rub off because you had this feeling in your sack that, well, that's me. So you'd hang around outside until they arrived from their other gig. You say, give your hand. They go, yeah, sweet, grab that, you know, and you'd, with your little boxes and stuff, and you'd go in there and throw it all on the stage, and they go, no, sweet, just stay in here, you know, like, get the band ears, $5 to get the band some drinks, you know, and all of a sudden you're in. You're one of them.
It happened in the suburbs north of the river, where the smokestacks rape the air. And gangs of short-haired boys roam the streets. Get out of their way, 'cause they're out to get their shit.
The crowd they played to was male, volatile, and working class. They demanded to be deafened by bass, drums, and guitar. It became known as pub rock, music to drink by.
You didn't have to sort of be, you know, socially acceptable because you're all part of this fantastic seething, sort of heaving mass.
I used to say a thing on stage was, I know you're out there because I can smell you. Because the stench of sweat and beer and cigarettes were just like, so when you came on stage, would just whack you.
I didn't want to give anyone the chance to sort of, you know, take a beer glass and take aim, so I thought just keep moving. And from that point, you know, I suppose people started to like it.
The venues that make up the Roll of Honour in the Great Campaign became part of hard rock's own heroic mythology. Melbourne's White Horse Inn, Sydney's Bondi Lifesaver, and Adelaide's Largs Pier Hotel, where another young recruit, Jimmy Barnes, began his journey from fighting and drinking to screaming the blues.
I used to go there when I lived in Elizabeth when I was a bit younger. We'd take acid and go there and watch the bouncers kill people, you know, just for entertainment. It was like frightening. These guys, it was a really rough pub. You know, all the Sydney bands used to play there. I remember seeing Lobby Lloyd and Billy Thorpe. This place was just outrageous. I mean, you know, like everybody had jugs of like bourbon and coke. That was the chicks. They'd have strippers every night. It was like a real full-on bar. It was like Wild West Town. And that's where we started. We started drawing crowds there. And the ones that made it through the night without getting killed and came back the next night, you know, and brought their mates for protection.
But not every band had a sense of rhythm strong enough to jerk the drinkers out of their stupor. Hush played the same gigs in tight, shiny outfits that might have looked better on girls.
I won't like you, but I love you. Because I'm always thinking of you. Oh, you treat me badly. I love you badly. You really got a hold of me. You really got a hold of me.
The bands playing around Sydney were playing pubs. They were kind of jeans and T-shirts. They'd have their backs to the audience, and it was kind of blues bandy type things. Fantastic musicians, great musicians, but everyone took themselves really, really seriously.
You do me wrong now.
We were never very good musicians, and for we garage musicians, we had to have some sort of outlet.
Would be welcome the loudest
We had an angle because of the Chinese thing. We could have either giant sort of red flags and red stars and all that kind of stuff, or the big fire-breathing dragons, things that kind of made us appear as though we were like Kiss, although we predated Kiss.
With do-it-yourself pyrotechnics, Hush showed that bands in glam gear could hold an audience down the pub.
Wow, that didn't take long. That 8 minutes went by very quickly. Well, that was interesting. That was interesting. Uh, real different music scene than what I was into. I mean, I was never much for the bars and stuff, and like Jimmy Barnes, taking acid and going into a bar was like the last thing in the world that I would do. I'd be outside in the country somewhere, digging on nature, but but yeah, I could understand the scene there, and I do think it's at least for me, it was very instructive to uh, find that the biggest riot in Australian history was about music, and them shutting down this hotel, which I just thought was strange or funny or whatever because, yeah, it's very different here in the U.S. I mean, we're not France, but we've had plenty of riots, and they're not about music, at all. So I just found that neat, but uh, that wasn't long enough, There's several more sections of it, so I'll go ahead and play those. But yeah, that wasn't long enough. But it was interesting, definitely, and kudos to Dr. Cap. I mean, even with all that she had done, it's still kind of there were problems with the film and stuff like that, but it's like so many things, you're just glad to have it all. And I'm glad she made the effort to, kind of clean it up so we could watch it, But anyway, that was cool. So, like I say, I will go ahead and play all of these, just to learn a little bit. And anyway, I'll be back in a minute. So hit like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and we'll see you all then. Bye-bye.